Okay, so now you have your notebook. Let's open up and find your next blank page. Don't skip any pages. Just going through. Oh, there's something on here. Aha, the next blank one. And I am going to place it on here. The goal is that it just sticks out a little bit, otherwise it might fall out. And I want to put it so I can kind of see parts of it, so I know, oh, when I go to my notes, I just have to find this to open. All right. And I'm going to go to my next blank page to start today's notes. And let's call this multi, it means more than one digit, as in more than one number, multiplication. I'm just going to write the symbol so that way I don't have to write out multiplication. And then I didn't mention before, but if you happen to have, besides your pencil, which I'm pretending my black pen is my pencil, if you have two other colors, like colored pencils even, or colored pens, that would be really handy for this. All right, so pause, write out your title, and then write, or go grab your utensils if you need it. Okay, so for this problem, we're going to use, or for our example, let's use 23 times 31. 23 times 31. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So we're going to have to choose one of these numbers to break up. I'm going to break up our second number here. And this is what I mean by that. I am going to, well, I can just use my pencil. I'm going to do an area model here. So 23 is going to stay. I'm going to write that up top. And on this, I'm going to be multiplying 23 times 31, but I'm going to break it up into the different place values. So I have my 1 and I have my 30. 31 can be broken up into 30 and 1, because 30 plus 1 is 31. So in each of these boxes, I'm going to solve for each of the parts. So that first one, I have 23 times 1. And in the second one, I'm going to do 23 times 30. So let's start with the easy one. 23 times 1. You have one copy of 23. You have 23. Let's write that in the middle. This one's a little bit trickier, but here is my trick. So remember, we did this yesterday in the fluency. 30, I could think of as 3 times 10. And I know whenever I multiply by 10, I just add a 0. So if I just want to ignore that 0, all I have to do is write it in the bottom. Then I could just multiply by 3. If I add the 0, it's like I already multiplied the answer times 10. So it's 30. I'm going to write a 0. Now I can ignore it. So now I'm going to do, what is 3 times 3? 9. And 3 times 2 is 6. So 23 times 30 is 690. 690. Now we have the two parts. 23 times 1 is 23. 23 times 30 is 690. What would that be total? Let's add them up. Set up your problem and add. Pause if you need more time. So I have 0 plus 3 is 3. 9 plus 2 is 11. 6 plus 1 is 7. So the total here should be 713. This is a lot of work. That's a lot of work for just one multiplication problem. So let's look at the standard form to see how can we cut down so we don't have to do 3 different equations here, or 3 different operations. So here's how I want you to write it. I'm going to use my pencil to do my 23. Then for the bottom part, my 31, I'm going to write using two different colors. So I have two different blues, a dark blue and a light blue. And then I'm going to switch back to my pencil to draw my multiplication sign and the line. So pause so you can get this written down, and then let's solve together. Excuse me. So the first thing we're going to solve, just like we did over here, is going to be our 23 times 1. So I'm going to use that light blue, just like I was using for my 1. And for right now, I can ignore that other 3. This is just 23 times 1. So I'm going to take my 1 and multiply it by each of those parts. And we already said before, 23 times 1 is 23. So that's where I'm showing this here. I got this number. I'm just going to write this little off to the side from doing 23 times 1. Now I can ignore that 1. If it helps you, you could even cross it off so you don't forget you're done with that. Now I have one number here, a 3. But is it really a 3? This is actually a 30 because it's in the tens place. This is 31. So that 3 is actually 30. So just like we did over here, if I write a 0 here, I can now pretend it's a 3 because I've already taken care of the tens place, the 30 aspect. So if I write a 0, I can now pretend it's a 3. So let's multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. There we go. 690. And I got that by multiplying 23 times 30. I took that 3 or the 30 and I multiplied it by each of those numbers. That got me 690. Look what we just did. I took these two equations here and I combined them. So I did my 23 times 1 in one row, and then my 23 times 30 in another. And I do this because now I can add them. I'm going to switch back to my pencil with how they're already written. So I'm going to put a plus sign. Now they're already in rows for me. I can add them easily. 3 plus 0 is 3. 2 plus 9 is 11. 1 plus 6 is 7. There we go. I just took what was like 1, 2, 3, 4 parts and combined it all into one operation. That's why we do multi-digit multiplication. So today we're going to be practicing that. Pause here, or actually you're going to go over to the next slide. Make sure you have these notes down so that if you need to refer back to this at all, you have a reference. All right, great job everyone.